And good evening, ladies and gents, wherever you may be around the world, and welcome to Splendid Isolation number 258. As you can probably guess, mostly this evening we are going to be talking about Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain, and what we think of Rupert and his party. But in order to give people time to join the stream, etc., as always, I'm going to start us off with a tune.
Take up the white man's burden, send forth the best ye breed. Go bind your sons to exile, to serve your captives' need. To wait in heavy harness on flooded folk and wall. Your new God's sullen peoples have devil and have child. Take up the white man's burden, in patience to abide, to veil the threat of terror and check the show of pride. By open speech and simple, 100 times made plain, to seek another's profit and work another's gain. Take up the white man's burden, the savage wars of peace. Fill full the mouth of famine and bid the sickness cease. And when your goal is nearest, the end for others sought, what's love that heed and folly? Bring all your hopes to naught. Take up the white man's burden, no tawdry rule of kings, but toil of serf and sweeper, the tale of common things. The ports ye shall not enter, the roads ye shall not tread. Go make them with your living and mark them with your dead. Take up the white man's burden and reap his old reward. The blame of those ye better, the hate of those ye guard. The cry of those ye humor are slowly towards the light. Why brought ye us from bondage, a loved Egyptian night? Take up the white man's burden, ye dare not stoop to less, nor call too loud on freedom to cloak your weariness. By all ye cry or whisper, by all ye leave or do, the silent, sullen people shall wail gods and you. Take up the white man's burden, have done with childish days, the lightly prophet laurel, the easy ungrudged praise. Come thou to search your manhood through all of thankless years. No age with give or wisdom, the judgment of your peers. Take off the white man's burden through all of thankless years.
And that was, of course, the excellent Chris Gard. If you like good music, do go and check out Chris Gard's YouTube channel. And you can also follow him on X, Twitter, where we are also live at the moment if you prefer to watch us there. All right, gents. Obviously, yesterday, Rupert Lowe announced that he's turning Restore Britain into a political party. I joined Restore Britain back when it started. I know some of the others on the panel are also members or have been members for quite a while. I'm not at all happy with Nigel Farage and his Mark II Conservative Party. Don't really like Zia Youssef and other people in the leadership of Reform. I think they're far too piss weak to make any real difference to Britain. So I absolutely welcome Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain. I think it was Survive the Jive, Tom Rousell, who came out with the thing, aim high, vote low, which I think is pretty cool. But I'm going to pass it over to the panel to tell me what they think about these things. So, Tharium, I think you said you were able to go, so go for it, mate.
Wait, are we talking about Rupert Lowe or the other stuff first?
I'm quite happy to do it any way you want to. Most of this stream is going to be about Restore Britain and Rupert Lowe, but if people have got other things they want to talk about, as always, you can.
Well, I think before we get onto that, there was the stuff this week with Labour and their fallout from the Mandelson stuff, which was quite funny, I thought. Because they've had Morgan McSweeney resign, and there's the calls of everyone's thinking Starmer's got to go, but it seems he's played the card of, if any of you bitches try to do a leadership contest, I will call a general election and you will all lose your jobs. Which, I mean, I kind of respect his ruthlessness in holding on to power. Because
I know where you're coming from. I know where you're coming from.
I just hope he sticks to his word and does call a general election, because I think Labour will get chucked out.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, there's for quite a while now we've been talking about how the Labour government's it's only going to last a couple of years. They'll all fall apart. There's no reason for it. You know, they can just go, oh no, they don't care how unpopular they are.
No, it would be suicide if they do. But governments have committed suicide in the past. It's happened. So I mean,
the Tories are retarded about it. Labour are a bit more. No, we're gonna keep our job. We're gonna do as much damage as the time we have left. So I don't know why there'd be a general election, unless like you have Starmer who's going, I will burn everything down on my way out. Fuck all of you guys.
I was really surprised actually at that sort of turn of events, because I mean, first off, it's weird that this is the thing. Well, not really that weird, but it's kind of funny that this is the thing he suddenly decides to grow a spine over. Like, everything else has to be genuflection to the rules-based order, and now suddenly he's this like man of extraordinary power. But also it's like you kind of, when you look at their circus, like the way they operate over on that side of the aisle, you often see that like they're ruthless about enforcing like loyalty to their sort of modus operandi, and they don't often get people deviate from it, because you have to give up a lot of opportunities. And it's like, if Starmer sinks like Labour shot of power and hands the country over to Reform or whoever it is afterwards, it's or even back to the Tories, like he's going to get spurned at a lot of the sort of events and positions that he would otherwise go to after being Prime Minister for the rest of his career, and he's not that old.
Yeah.
So it's a weird position for him to take.
Adam, do you think that Starmer is maybe a bit worried in the background about the Ukrainian rent boys stuff and stuff related to that? Because I get the impression that he thinks he might be on a limited time anyway because of that.
I mean, he's not.
If it really breaks him in the mainstream media, he's finished.
I mean, the mainstream media. The funny thing is if I don't know if this is down to Raikou or what, but the grip of like regime messaging over mainstream media seems to have never been stronger.
Yeah,
like we saw a lot of stuff slipping through the cracks during like Southport and other such things, but and obviously with the Musk taking over Twitter for the first few years after that, but now it's like they're on full lockdown. Like there's only a very small selection of stories that they can even talk about, and even the quite petty stuff, like
look at the rape gang inquiry.
Like no coverage
totally
anywhere.
ignored. I think GB News covered it once or maybe twice, a little bit. That was it.
I mean, there was that stabbing the other day in the school where the guy doing it goes shouting "Allahu Akbar," and he's like, "Oh, try not to mention that. Just say it was a boy with a knife." But I mean, would the Rent Boys take Summer down, or is it just going to be the same thing?
I think if it really broke and they got interviewed and stuff, given he pretends to be a married man, and you know, he's wipes a beard as they call it. But yeah, I think that would finish it.
I don't see how it'd be different, because it'll be the same thing. He's just going to go, no, the British people gave me the mandate to lead. And if you, and it's the same thing. And it's like, how many, so you need like a rebellion from the Labour Party, but do they all care about their jobs more than that? Because they're all going to lose. That's the problem. Sure. So he kind of has that hanging over them.
Well, I mean, it's not just the Labour Party. I mean, look at Farage and Reform. They totally ignored the rape gang inquiry.
Yeah, but I mean, but they can't
say a word about it.
Yeah, but they can't force an election. You know, that would have to come from within Labour, and I think Starmer's the sort of person who will just hanging there no matter what. Doesn't matter how unpopular he is. He's just going to cling on to it.
You might be right. Listen, I'm not predicting there's going to be a general election now, but I would say if you look at British political history, and unfortunately we don't have Aaron Hook with us this evening because that's his big deal. But governments have committed suicide in the past quite frequently. It's happened.
Yeah, it used to be the thing. You know, it's like, oh, I have embarrassed myself. I resign my government. I'm sorry. Those days are long gone. That sense of honor in public duty, not anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I figured the party would always stay behind Starmer and would never risk a backbench revolt. But I also wasn't sure if he'd ever have the balls to actually call an election and potentially sink his sort of prestige.
I think
in the circles that he's in.
I think he's mad enough to do that.
Yeah, maybe.
And that's the feeling I'm getting from him. He will cling on with every ounce of his being.
It would be really hilarious if this is the thing that like gets him to step down, like all the other shit from like the Chagos Islands to everything else, and it's all like rules-based order all the way through, and then this is the thing where it all breaks down.
I mean, he's already the least popular prime minister ever, and he just doesn't seem to care. He's still just plowing on like everything's normal.
I mean, Woodpit and Chat says they know a right-wing backlash is coming. I don't know if they actually believe that though. Like, I know that they're definitely fearful, and they definitely, like, we saw this thing with the Jim Ratcliffe interview where they all seem to be quite rattled over it, but they seem to divorce their sort of fears in the back of their mind from any actual sort of like in the moment understanding of the situation, and they will double down and actually just say no, actually everyone I know thinks this, and you guys are just weird online outsiders or whatever.
They sound like reform supporters a bit.
I was going to say, but I think when they think the opposition is reform, that's not really so scary. You can keep the theatre going with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Reform is marked too conservative by. I mean,
It's the Boris cabinet.
Yeah,
Literally.
he's stuffing the Boris cabinet into Reform. He's got Zia Mohammed Yusuf as his number 2, who's a Sri Lankan Muslim, basically. He's got other Muslims that he's invited into the party. He has said that demographics are not something that he's bothered about. Tice said, "I'll be dead by the time that happens when demographic change happens, so I don't care." So Reform have kind of put themselves into a corner on this.
I mean, he's lacking. The only thing he's lacking is probably the least important member of the Boris Johnson cabinet, and that's Boris Johnson himself.
For now.
Yeah, for now. I mean, look, I follow Rees Mogg on YouTube, not because I particularly like Rees Mogg, but because he sits at the heart of the Tory spiderweb.
Yeah.
And he's been saying there should be some sort of merger between Conservatives and Reform for ages.
Yep.
So,
I can see that. Same with Gove. Like Gove's another one of the spiders in the Tory party and he's been, you can tell he's been working towards that.
I mean, Gove is just Gove has been like a absolute puzzle to me since forever. Like, he knew Jonathan Bowden back in the day.
Yeah.
In the Monday Club. Yeah.
And yet his daughter is like a weed smoking communist. And he's just, he's Michael Gove. It's just what's up with that? Weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. Does anybody else have anything to say on Starmer forcing a general election or the Labour side of this ship?
Yeah, all I'll say is it's never going to happen. They're going to cling on to power until they're forced to give a general election.
I think in their heart of hearts, I mean, I totally agree with what Farriam and Adamman were saying about they'll pretend that they're not worried. But in their heart of hearts, they must know that they're on borrowed time and that people test them.
I can see that's being why they're not going to give up. They're not going to have an election. It's like, we've got to do as much damage as we can in the next few years.
Well, plus get your MP salary and all the Quango perks and all the rest of it you can get after being in Parliament if you've been there long enough. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all watched the House of Commons, and not just, to be fair, not just the Labour Party, the so-called Conservatives, Reform, and everybody else. We all saw them reject a public inquiry into the mainly Pakistani rape gangs.
Angelic's domain there. See, Starmer doesn't care about the party. I think he just cares about himself. That seems to be the attitude he has. He was the one who was elected. It wasn't Labour. It was Starmer. The people picked Starmer.
There were people left with Starmer.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to ask Alman because he's the senior dude here. Alman, what would your first topic for this evening be?
I haven't got a first topic, but or a topic, but I just wanted to read out. There was a comment by SGA Big, I think it is, a bit further up in the chat. They said, FYI, Captain Cook died on this date in 1779. English navigator, explorer, and map maker. He's remembered for his 3 exploration voyages that circumnavigated the globe and for his discovery of Hawaii. Now, isn't today also the anniversary of the fall of Malaya? Or actually, should I say the fall of Singapore? Am I getting it mixed up with a different date? I should check that.
Yeah, it's this week. I remember Colonel Pride on Twitter saying something about fall of Singapore anniversary coming up.
Right. So. Yeah. So not the best day as anniversaries go for several reasons.
The biggest British defeat in history was the fall of Singapore.
Losing Captain Cook was a big negative as well.
Yes, absolutely. One of the world's great navigators and explorers. Also, the Brits vastly outnumbered the Japanese at Singapore. That's one of the shaming things about it. We had far more troops there than they did. And the Japanese were right at the end of their supplies. So if the British High Command had just had a little bit more balls, the Japanese probably would have had to retreat because they were almost out of supplies, and particularly artillery ammunition.
There was
Yeah,
that.
and I
There
was
was
like, I
that
saw
British
this one
commander as
post
well
on
that was a
Twitter.
traitor, wasn't there? Sorry,
Sorry,
Mitch, you
you-
go on.
What did you
Sorry,
both say?
I couldn't hear what you two were saying because you were talking over each other.
Yeah. Sorry, Mitch, you go first.
I was just like, and I saw someone on Twitter saying like the Japanese weren't impressive in World War II, and I was like, well, not really. I mean, the Japanese soldier in World War II was like some of us dogged fighters. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like I mean, the German invasion of France was probably the best operation in modern warfare, but close second would have to be the Japanese invasion of Malaya. Just everything went right for them. Everything went badly for us.
Also worth mentioning, the Japanese did pretty much the same thing in the Philippines to the Americans at the same time.
Yeah, and that's even more damning in a sense because MacArthur had intelligence that the Japanese were going to land an army, but he didn't do anything. So bad. So yeah.
I mean, one of my grandfathers fought the Japanese. He didn't. He didn't think they were just just cannon fodder. No, they were. You didn't want to be fighting them. Brutal people.
They were pretty tough, and they were pretty tough. They did not surrender, by and large.
No.
But there was if I remember it rightly, there was a I'm just trying to look up his name. There was a British senior officer that actually essentially sold out secrets to the Japanese, wasn't there, during that time? In the in the campaign there. He was quite a prominent figure, if I remember. And supposedly he was executed on like the day that Singapore fell. Like they took him out to the harbour and just shot him. Like the British did, not the Japanese.
Well, there were a lot of spies in Malaya. Japanese barbers, believe it or not, were quite common.
Yeah, this guy was a British officer though, like an actual.
Is this Lord Sempill someone's mentioned that Aaron's mentioning in chat?
Yeah, maybe. No, I don't think so.
I know there was.
I did have it earlier.
There was an airman who was passing secrets to the Japanese after 1922, because of course up until 1922 Japan was a British ally anyway. It was only the Washington Naval Treaty that stopped them being British allies because the Americans insisted on that. And we just went along with it in the normal weak 20th century British fashion. There was an airman who was passing the Japanese secrets on carrier aircraft in the 1920s. But I mean, at that stage, the Japanese had just been our allies, and they weren't really our enemies in like 1923 and 1925.
Oh, the man I'm thinking of is Captain Patrick Heenan.
Yeah,
a New Zealander.
Oh, there you go. Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Obviously, someone's obviously paying him. I guess he was probably just doing it for money. I mean, that's what the majority of traitors do things for, is money, to be honest. You know, if you look at British traitors in the Cold War, for example, to the Soviets, some of them were ideological, but a lot of them were just doing it for money.
Yeah, a bit of a disgraceful thing to.
Oh, I think
your fellow.
I totally believe in shooting traitors. You know, Tony Blair got rid of that. I wonder why. You know, he got rid of that. I think he might have foreseen things. You know, I am totally in favour of executing traitors. I think that's the only way to deal with them. And of course, we have Peter Mandelson recently, who was selling British secrets to his friends who related to Jeffrey Epstein.
I mean, there's no way he can be allowed to get away with that, surely.
No.
I mean, that's
very illegal. Like, of all the things that you can do in government, that's right up there. It's one of the worst.
Andrew Bridgen, who is an MP, he actually used parliamentary privilege to send a letter to the government complaining about the Chagos Island stuff, the British Indian Ocean Territory stuff, where the British public are supposed to pay Mauritius hundreds of millions of pounds for years and years and years in order for them to take over British territory. Andrew Bridgen used parliamentary privilege. I did actually mention this on a stream a week or so ago, to put a letter into the government saying that he has got evidence, including from former British policemen, that is actually a big Ponzi scheme, and loads of people are making loads of taxpayers' money off it.
I'm sure.
It's another case of like basically being a traitor to Britain, but also for money.
If I was an MP,
which of course is what the gay former ambassador to the USA was doing. He was doing it for money, basically.
If I was an MP, I would be using that parliamentary privilege every chance I got. Just like Thomas Massey saying, if you don't unredact these names in the files, I'm just going to say it live on Congress. Then it's going to be on public record.
Yeah, and you can say what you like now. It's can't do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely right. Yep, 100%. I totally agree with that. Mitch, did you have a first topic for this evening, which was not Restore and Rupert Lowe?
I'll share share screen. Seeing as Japan had an election back on Sunday. And
yeah. This was good.
Yeah. So
I mean, the Japanese have elected a pretty based prime minister by the looks of it.
Was 80%, wasn't it? 80% of the vote they got, I think.
Yeah, 80% of the parliament is right wing, basically.
Yeah, which is.
And there's only like four. There's only like 5 left wingers in the entire parliament. The remainder is just centrists.
Yeah.
And the Japanese are Japan is overwhelmingly Japanese. I know you sometimes get people putting scare stories out, particularly on X, on Twitter. But in actual fact, Japan is overwhelmingly Japanese.
Oh yeah.
Still, so they can stop this shit quite easily.
I've seen the Paul Joseph Watson videos where he shows like the brief span of diversity they've actually had has been disastrous.
And by our standards in Britain or Australia, the amount of diversity they have in Japan is really very small, and concentrated in only a couple of cities.
They are an example though, like you can say, oh, we just have a few. Well, can you? I don't know. They seem to still cause problems.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Alpha Cat is right about this. And Japan is still very much an ethno state, and of course, all of us on this stream. I say all of us, as far as I'm concerned, certainly me, I'm in favour of an ethno state. I think ethno states are the natural way to go.
It's certainly the natural order of things.
Like Japan can allow like a PewDiePie. That's okay. He's not causing problems, but a few Kurds though and Africans and stuff. Nah, they're not having that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't think anyone, like even the Steve Laws position, I don't think Steve Laws would say, oh, well, if you're a German, say, or a Canadian, that he wants to stop you being able to live in Britain if you happen to marry a British person. I don't think even Steve Laws would go with that.
I think he does, but that he's just trying to push the Overton window with that.
I think but I know the interview with Andrew Gold. He was saying that though. So
I think there's a big difference personally between European people and other people. And I see someone in the chat saying Japanese are honorary Europeans. Yeah, to some degree, I think that's true.
Well, let's not go too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. We're not going to get into that
Well,
one
I mean,
today.
As far as
I would say a
non-Europeans
Japanese
go.
woman, actually,
Given the choice between Middle Eastern
Yeah.
people from the religion of pieces and Africans, and even a lot of South Americans, etc. I know that who the hell I'd sooner have, and it wouldn't be any of the three I just mentioned.
Let's put it this way: they're certainly the brightest light of civilization in Asia.
Yeah,
For sure.
I've heard that if you have to guess where someone from East Asia is from, always go with Japan. And if they're not from Japan, they're going to be less insulted by that. So, like a Korean, if you guess a Korean is Japanese, he's not going to mind that as much as if you guessed he was Chinese. Because like, oh,
yeah, but they all hate each other.
Yeah, but they all kind of recognize that
Southeast Asian people don't like.
Absolutely, but they all kind of recognize that. Well, yeah, I mean, like Japan's best than China. At least you don't think I'm Chinese.
Yeah. And like I say, the Chinese, the Koreans, and the Japanese, they all really don't like each other very much, to be honest. And all of that part of the world hates each other, really.
Well, even the Hong Kongers hate China, like the Chinese, especially when the Chinese come to visit Hong Kong. They absolutely hate it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Mitch, I cut you off.
I was going to say, when it comes to Japanese, I mean, for example, if you come across an East Asian who's like very fat or well beat, chances are they're Chinese. If you've got an East Asian person who's got like a phenotype that looks domineering or that looks sort of authoritative, they're Japanese. That's.
Well,
I remember like someone like
what do they call them? They're like vegetarians or something. It roughly translates to. As just these like fucking soy boy men in Japan.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I know, like because Buddhism dominated for a long time there, where they forbid people from eating meat. It was only the Meiji Restoration meat became a part of a diet. Like I remember, the Japanese admiral who won the Battle of Tsushima was a guy called Togo Heihachiwa, and when he was in England, when he visited England, it was in the 1870s, like he just couldn't get enough of like stuff like steak when he was over here, like that,
Mitch, there's also Shintoism in Japan. It's not just Buddhism.
Well, sure, but Buddhism, religion is it's a really weird one in Japan because they have all manner. Like you got Confucianism, you've got Taoism, you've got Buddhism, Shintoism. And ever since the Meiji Restoration, Shintoism has dominated. But since the Second World War, it's kind of been de-emphasized because a big part of Shintoism is you worship the emperor. Well, after World War II, they had to go. So Shintoism kind of lost its purpose. So I don't know. So Japan might as well be an atheist country in that sense, even though if you ask the average Japanese, like how much do you identify with this part of, religious and to answer Woodpit about Shinto, back in the days of the Tokugawa shogunate, Shinto and Buddhism were syncretized together in what was called Shimbutsu Shogu, which basically was it was like a state religion run by the shogunate, and it de-emphasized imperial worship, among other things. It's a long-winded subject, and our Apostolic Majesty can talk more about it. But it's but yeah, the thing about Japan is their religion used to be very syncretized between all these Chinese and native traditions. I mean, after World War II, that all got then Meiji Restoration happened, and then World War II just kind of upended all of that. So very long discussion.
We will do at some stage on our history streams. We'll do. I've already done one about the Anglo-Japanese alliance, but I will do a history stream about the Anglo-Japanese alliance because it is quite interesting actually, particularly from the naval aspect, which is one of the things I'm most interested in. Okay, Farium, did you have anything you wanted to talk about which was not restore a Rupert Lowe?
I've done that. The Labour stuff.
So Okay. So, Aubrey, did you have something you wanted to talk about this week? Because given you're an American, you might have a different thing to talk about.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. Sorry.
Yeah, you were muted.
No, not really. I just kind of wanted to hang out with you guys today, so I'm just kind of on here as a.
Well, you're most welcome.
Thank you.
All right. I think I've gone through everybody. I guess we'll.
Well,
Yes.
if you want a topic that isn't restore, if we want to blue ball the audience a little bit further, I'd like to just mention James O'Brien's reaction to the grooming gang inquiry, which I found humorous. And he's basically obviously you're not allowed to have the grooming gang inquiry because that's racist. And we on the right aren't interested in the Epstein files because those were white people allegedly, even though they were calling each other Goyim or whatever they were calling everyone.
Didn't we talk about Mandelson and Epstein just like 5 minutes ago? Pretty sure we did.
Yeah. No, that's different. It doesn't count.
Yeah. And I mean, as Mercian says, Epstein's favorite expression was, there's going to be plenty of goyim there, which is an insult, by the way. It's a racist insult that Jewish people use against non-Jewish people. There are other expressions they can use when if they're not trying to be insulting.
Yeah, like Gentile.
Yeah. I don't know whether you guys caught that at all, or you saw Sargon stream about. I can't believe some of these leftists that they kind of the think they have.
I mean, I also feel like they know they're full of shit. They've got to know they're full of shit, right? All this crap. Surely you can't actually believe that. They're just, I don't know, it's part of their sort of, they just think they have to signal it.
Yeah, I wonder what goes through their brains half the time. Is it we need to pay service to our left-wing master, and just show how left-wing we are, a fear of being thrown out of the club.
I mean, there was that that guy. Do you see? I've got the clip here. Just give me a sec. I mean, I get this guy doing it because, well, he's not exactly us. But okay, let me share screen. This guy's talking about getting stabbed in London.
Like you, are you really saying you'd be at less of a risk there than you would be in Tower Hamlets? On what basis?
Well, I've been stabbed twice in London. That's the basis. There you go.
It's a big city. Sadly, that happens.
God. It's a big city.
I mean, I get why this guy is defending Tower Hamlets, right? But well, you know.
Sadly, that happens. You walk around a big city and you get stabbed. I lived in London for years. I never got stabbed.
It's just so funny that he says it's a big city. Yeah, it comes with the territory.
Yeah,
it's just the expression "I've been stabbed twice," and it came out of his mouth like it was nothing.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah. Obviously, you've been stabbed twice in London. What else is new?
Oh my God.
I mean, like, it's probably his brother who did the stabbing, right? I get that. But James O'Brien doing it, like, what are you playing at, mate?
You still want to visit London, and
of course, James O'Brien.
I do. Well, actually, I don't even care to go to London. I want to go to all the other areas, the smaller areas. But
if you just stick to the right parts of London, there's some good stuff to see there, like the National Museum and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Go to your local club, see if they sell stab-proof vests.
Yeah,
right.
Bring some chain mail.
Gotta be careful.
Bring some chain mail. But of course,
speaking of, actually, somebody got killed here in St. Louis 2 days ago. I guess a woman was like getting coffee or something, and somebody just came up and shot her. So Yeah,
Nice.
it's a big city.
By the way,
you know.
I noticed we don't have AI
Terrible.
this evening at the moment.
It's
although he
terrible.
does
I don't. Nobody goes down there anymore. So, yeah. Anyway.
Sorry, I was just
That's a little
I was
aside.
just saying I noticed that we don't have AI at the moment, although he does sometimes join us later. James O'Brien, of course, used to try and portray himself as the base leftist, the more realistic leftist, and I think that's completely gone now.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah,
the same as with like you've seen this whole thing. What do they call themselves? Dark woke now. And they're like the thing is they've done this a million times already. They had when Vaush was first bursting onto the scene back in the day, they called themselves what do they call it? Dirtbag leftists. And it's like and what they are is they're just the same old leftists, but they take some right-wing memes and then they try to redeploy them as left-wing memes or jokes, and that's kind of that's as far as it goes.
It's not too hard though. Too hardcore. Like they go, okay, so are you going to call people retards? No, that would be ableist. We can't do that.
Well, I saw a bunch of them on Twitter debating calling people. I'm not really sure if I can say it on stream. I assume it's fine, but they were saying, "Oh, you can't use the F slur for like homosexual people because that would be." So we're going to call them faggots instead. That's fine. That's actually like edgy and cool. And I'm like, like what are you, like 12? Like what is this?
But don't forget, Armin, those are traditional British beef meatballs and beef and pork meatballs, I believe,
which are really lovely as well. Yeah.
Yeah, which are nice in gravy. I used to have them when I was a kid. Yeah. For sure. So we're allowed to say that, I hope, but I don't think you're allowed to say it in the chat on YouTube anymore.
So I was about to say something really stupid then about like, we have those and we call them this particular word. But a delicacy in the West Midlands and the Southwest, I believe.
Yeah, and I'm a smoker as well, so that there's another F word that in Britain it just means a cigarette, mate.
All realities just missed the best fun.
What did I miss? What did I miss?
Oh, we
talking about
were
assaulting
talking
cigarettes
about
in the street.
Yeah, cigarettes in Britain are the people call them FAGSs, and,
right?
And that's just the cigarette in Britain. That's all it means.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And we have the full-on version, which is like the pork offal balls and gravy.
What? I'm so lost.
They're kind of like big pork or pork and beef meatballs in gravy, Aubrey. And they're called what you in America call
a bundle of
sticks. Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
You can look up Mr. Brain's pork bundle of sticks.
Oh my.
Yeah, maybe just make
this
sure
show's getting dirty all of a
search
sudden.
like British bundle of sticks or British F slur. Just
no, that would be slightly different. Yeah, that would be slightly different.
It's getting awfully X-rated.
Before we move on to our main topic this evening, which is going to be the second hour of the stream, let me do a bit of channel admin. Guys, please like, if you're in the chat or you're watching this later, please do like the stream. It really does help with the algorithm. And also, if you would like to support the channel or ask super chat questions of the panel or particular members of the panel, you can do so via Entropy, and that is pinned at the top of the chat on YouTube. And I think we do actually have one super chat already, but I'll leave it for later before I talk about that. But yeah, those are much appreciated, guys. And like I say, do like the stream.
We're being stream cut by Sargon of Akkad, and yet our your viewership is still actually pretty good. So we've got SI loyalists in the chat right now.
Well, we've been going quite a while. I mean, this is 258, so
Jesus.
And we never have a 13th stream either, so it's actually more than that, really.
Yeah,
because we didn't have a 13, we didn't have 113 either.
And also, I think all the people watching the stream know that when this stream's over, the stream for Sargon's recorded, and they can just watch it later.
Yeah. exactly.
This is
That's the
true.
thing.
Yep, this is absolutely true. I'd also argue that we're a bit more based than Sargon. Like we were talking about this stuff that we're going to talk about this evening 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And unlike Sargon, we haven't slowly drifted to the right. We've always been on the right. So,
and of course there is, it's not a 0% chance that we might actually get so fed posty that the stream has to come down. It's happened before.
Yep, it is entirely possible that I would have to.
So you best catch it live.
Yeah.
I will say, Duke, I have definitely radicalized a lot over recent years.
Yeah.
I haven't. I'm pretty much where I've always been.
I mean,
Here we go. It's William Grenville. Good day,
Talk
William.
of the devil.
Oh, you've been chatting about me behind my back. How are you guys?
Well, no, we were just saying you weren't around, mate. I will.
Yeah, we were talking about
started getting X-rated, and it started getting X-rated, and I thought, well, where is AI?
Yeah,
it was
this area.
I've just been at work, and it's a bit busy, but yeah. No, I was going to say, yeah. I guess this is it about Rupert Lowe, the sort of main story?
We haven't touched that yet. We're
just
waiting for you.
Yeah, William, we're just about to start that. Before we do, can I say to people that William put out a video earlier, which is a video, not a stream, on his channel. So go and check that out, guys. It's pretty good. I watched it earlier.
His other, your Epstein and the trafficking one was also good.
Yeah, no, thank you. That one was I had to do a bit of deep dive into the emails to find him actually referencing the grooming gangs in emails.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, William, that people were saying earlier before you joined us that the lefties try and claim that we on the right don't want to talk about Epstein because apparently it's white stuff, although, Epstein was very clear he wasn't. Yeah, I was going to say Epstein was very clear he wasn't white. He talked about Goyim all the time. So,
Is that a Russian word? That's a Russian word.
Yeah, it probably is, yeah. It's something to do with the elders of Zion, no doubt.
I think there are many people that need to have a re-education in what Caucasian European is.
Yeah. 1 minute we're neo-Nazis and then the next we're like Judeo-philic. It's just
pick a side.
You can't win. You can't win no matter what you do. You can't win. It's like British nationalists are evil because we were so friendly with the Nazis in World War II. That's what it is.
Yeah. Frustrating.
Yeah.
But what were we saying just before that about radicalization? I mean, I will say, I would say that like my political theory, because I try to base it on sort of like timeless things, has largely stayed the same. But like deep down inside, I've gotten like a lot more.
I'm less patient now.
Yeah, like I don't know. There's things I could not say.
Yeah.
on that I will not.
It's like
say
the whole the thing. I don't want them deported anymore.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see exactly what you chaps are saying. I mean, I look at the only thing I would say is that most people seem to start off fairly left-wing when they're very young and then they get more right-wing, and that's not happened to me because I was always a right-wing person. I was never left-wing at all. I got a little bit more radical? Yeah, I guess. I mean, would I have supported chucking 5 million people out of Britain 5 years ago? Maybe, but not definitely. Whereas I definitely do now.
Yeah, I've never been, even as my younger sort of like teenage years when I became sort of politically aware. I've never been left wing. I've sort of. I guess you could say I've sort of been fascinated with, the Soviet Union or something like that when I was a teenager, like the mechanisms and all that. But on the ideological level, I've never been like sort of left wing, and the reason is I just find like my initial reaction was they sort of bask in weakness. There is something about them where they sort of find weakness a virtue, and I find that I just found it a bit repulsive, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, well, I was a bit more liberal when I was younger. And the funny thing is that's still there. It now fuels my racism because now I sit here and think like, no, I want the English liberty. I want the Englishman in his castle and all that stuff, but I can't have it with these people here.
I love hearing somebody say it fuels my racism. It's great.
It's a perfectly reasonable position, to be honest. It really is. Because
I mean, every race is racist against all the other races. They everybody is in favor of their own race. Everybody.
Yes, but
except for the white liberal women now in America.
Well, but even them, you know, Aura McIntyre always says that you know, everyone's off like an ethno-nationalist for groups they actually like. You know, even for the like the American white liberal, it's the same.
But white people are white people are supposed to pretend, that we don't see these things, you know?
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, those white liberal American women that are so making all these TikTok videos, they sure as hell would not like to live in a third world country and not have their white privilege, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like, I think the funniest thing for me is like you have this Puerto Rican people who say we want independence and all this. I remember living in New Jersey.
Right.
Well, it's like all the illegal immigrants in America waving the Mexican flags around as they protest against the ICE guys. If they like Mexico so much, why aren't they
go
you know?
By all means. You guys, there was a woman on this video this morning that I saw that was saying this black woman that was saying to all white women, I think it was just women in general, but she said that we needed to bow down to her. And she said, like, before we're allowed to speak, and she said that she is our Lord, and we should address her as such. And I was like, this woman is freaking delusional. And yet there are so many of them now. It was just unreal.
Also, don't forget, I mean, if she's so dumb that she doesn't realize that a female lord is actually called a lady. But there we go.
I know. And she also said that we needed to ask for permission. And I couldn't resist. I wrote under there that I wasn't going to ask anything, you know? So, that's one of my pet peeves.
This is a black American woman who tried moving to Ghana. Do you think she liked it? Because here's
I bet she didn't.
I'd rather go back to America and deal with the racism in America before I sit here in Africa and deal with the bullshit bribery, the bullshit fraud, the bullshit scams, the bullshit too expensive, the bullshit not having no snacks.
I mean, that's the real one, is it? I don't have no snacks. I don't have
not having no snacks.
I'm going back to those crackers in America so I can have my snacks.
Do they not have snacks in Africa?
Well, they used to have them they used to have them in South Africa, or reality, but I will tell you that they're not exactly the same as the American ones.
I'm pretty sure they have a KFC in Ghana.
I have on good authority from a person from Zimbabwe, modern day Zimbabwe, formerly Rhodesia, that they have knockoff Freddo bars. Remember those Freddo chocolate bars? They have like a knockoff version there. Which
that was on what's his name's stream, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I say I bet they're cheaper there, but I bet due to inflation they're probably still £1.
Isn't a snack just anything that you eat in between meals?
It's probably she doesn't have whatever snacks she had in America.
And
she
Twinkie bars or whatever the fuck.
Paid for by the government.
Yeah. I mean, is that...
she kind my favorite snacks. I love them white snacks.
She's like the black maid from Tom and Jerry. It's like Thomas. You know, it's like I mean that can't be real. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. I believe that's like staged or something. I can't believe that's real.
Oh, I don't know. Have you
There
seen
have
a
been-
lot of these? Have you seen a lot of these videos of like enormously fat black women going off in McDonald's in the US and stuff?
Well,
Really?
there was like
Al Sharpton in the corner, getting ready to scam
I've just had
another
a
black
look.
community.
There are 19 KFCs in Accra in Ghana.
only 19.
Well, she should
is
get
not
some
that
snacks
many,
there.
And what do they serve in them, mate? Is it chicken or is it something else? I wonder.
I hope so.
What probably happened was probably she came across like a Ghanaian Uncle Ruckus while going to KFC.
To be honest,
refuse to believe there's
it
only
looks the
9
same as the KFCs here, including the clientele. It's
But you guys, the axe
I
thing
don't
just
eat
makes
that junk
me.
stuff.
The axe thing makes me crazy. You need to axe me. I'm like, no. And the doctor I used to work for, one of the med techs, she would say that, and he would say, well, I don't think we need to axe any of the patients. And she didn't catch it. And so she kept saying it. I was like, you need to not do that because you're going to get in so much trouble.
Do you know, Alberto, when you're saying that, I thought you was genuinely saying like the medieval weapon, the axe.
Right. That's what it sounds. That's exactly what they
then-
say. And that's why he was like, well, we don't want to axe any of our patients.
The other way to take that is in America, your Lynx is called Axe over there, and Lynx is quite like it's considered a bit of a teenage scent.
Oh, no idea.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is this some sort of aftershave or something you're talking about, mate?
Yeah, it's like a shower gel.
Yeah.
aftershave
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Brand, yeah.
Yeah, so I just had vision.
Aubrey, you wouldn't get it. It's a bloke thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't. But you guys, do black people say that in England? Do they say axe instead of axe?
No,
they have their own
dialects.
What they called it, like it's yard. Originally, it was yardy for like the Caribbean. Like now, it's like roadman. It's like and the worst of it is you even have white people here who behave like wigger behaviour.
Wiggers, that's what
I
we
was
used to
just
call
going
them.
to say, William, that's what really pisses me off.
When we
White
win,
working class people who use that accent.
when we win, I am sending all of them to camps, and they will have that crap beaten out of them until they talk properly again.
I mean, it's just one of my greatest pet peeves. Like, let me ask you a question. Oh, God. Can't stand it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
In Minecraft.
No, just summer camps for concentration.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Focus.
There'll be
Focus.
no beating. There'll
Right.
be no beating. Okay. The beatings will continue until morale improves. Yeah, that's.
I mean, it's like literally. I mean, in my mind, I mean, I have put a proposition towards Rupert Lowe for the party. I said, listen, when we win, every Green Party councillor is going to go to a theatre, Clockwork Orange style. Eyes going to be stretched wide open, and they're just going to be watching like English edits, short English edits for about 48-hour period, and we're just going to literally zap the lame cringeness out of them.
Like Pavlov's dog with to respond positively.
All right, guys, we've gone an hour. I think we have blue-balled our audience enough. I'm first of all going to start this discussion off by asking people to answer briefly a question, and that is, do we support Rupert Lowe turning Restore Britain into a political party? And just answer that, and then you can all have your say about the rest of it. So
I was already a member, so yes, that's my answer.
Cool.
I was already a member as well.
Cool.
Same.
Mercy?
Absolutely.
Not a member, but yes, I would.
William?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, cool. I'm I also joined as soon as Restore was formed, so yes, I agree with that too. So I think we can say that the panel is broadly in favour of Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain as a political party. And on that, I'm going to hand it over to the panel to discuss. And what do we think about this versus the Mark II Conservative Party, which is Reform, etc.?
Well, I'd say it's bittersweet in the sense of it's because you've got Sargon and a few people like that where we don't want to repeat what happened to UKIP back in 2019 with Joe Batten. And also you've got Homeland Party, which also failed. I hope people learned the lessons from that, which is don't go ahead and think chudding out is an answer to everything. I don't know. Chudding out. I mean, I don't know.
It's quality. It's quality control. The fact of the matter is, you should not, for a party, you can gatekeep. I mean, I know we criticise Reform's gatekeeping of like Bow and everything, but the thing is, on a realistic level, you do need to gatekeep. And I think with Lowe and Restore Britain, if he wants to have any sort of margin, this thing not to crash and burn at the first hurdle, you have to gatekeep the people. So this would be people who have dual loyalties with foreign nations, wherever it might be. Okay, it's people who are known grifters who basically have no talent and just suck up energy in the movement and cause problems. And
that's how you know.
Yeah. We know who these people are who sort of jump at anything, and he needs to be able to navigate that. Well, I think he does. I think he does now. I mean, there's been people have been putting tweets out and everything, and people who've like interviewed him, and it seems like he is aware of that sort of people. And broadly speaking, I think Rupert, he's more than anybody else. I don't think he's going to be like bought off and paid by some interest group. I don't. I think personally, because he's a wealthy man. I think he's a millionaire himself, isn't he?
Quite a lot.
He's a very wealthy man. He's got loads of horses on his farm and all this. And I think we should admire him. He used to own Southampton Football Club. But we should admire him because he's a wealthy man. He's not a young man, and he doesn't need to do this. He's got a nice lifestyle. So he's putting himself out there, and I think he's being quite brave.
Mm-hmm. But he's Cincinnatus for us, I know. He's like Cincinnatus.
Yeah. Because he could do the whole Richard Tice thing. Well, I'll be dead by then. So what do I care? But he's not.
Mm. One thing I'd like to say to our audiences, and I said this in discussion with Tharium, is we need to grow up. We can't play the childish meme wars game all the time and be associated with chudding out. So anyone watching this, try and gatekeep in a fatherly manner to anyone making us look bad.
Yeah, there's having fun, and then there's just being a twat.
Yeah, and that's the problem with Homeland is you had a lot of people, and a couple of them sort of ruined the whole scene for everybody, and then turned out to be totally disingenuous. And you had that ridiculous thing in that Northern Ireland with the I don't know what that was about, but you had the trouble is there were too many non-serious people, and they weren't really committed.
I would say that I think Sensible Centre in the chat says get Farmer Clarkson on board. Yeah, I'd happily have Jeremy Clarkson as a member of Restore.
I can see that happening with Rupert Lowe being a farmer as well.
Lowe for Sheffield's pointing out that Rupert Lowe donates his parliamentary salary to charity. Yes, he does, and he always has. Let's get a few things clear here. I really liked Rupert Lowe's original video on X, which has already had like 14 million views, I believe. Because he said it's going to be very difficult. He said it's going to be painful and hard to do what needs to be done to save Britain. So he's being realistic right off the bat.
Yeah.
He says very clearly that millions of people must leave Britain.
Yep.
That, again, is what all of us want and is necessary if you're going to save Britain demographically. He says very clearly that people will not be allowed to sit on the dole who are healthy. And of course, that's mostly going to affect immigrants, actually. I mean, yeah, sure, it will affect some British people, but mostly it will be immigrants. And you don't need to say that because it's just a fact. He's also said he will ban halal and kosher slaughter in Britain, which I fully support because it's against British animal welfare laws that we brought in way over a century ago, actually. Britain's an animal-loving nation. We don't like cruelty in Britain, unnecessary cruelty. It's also basically I liked everything that he came up with. He said, as people have been saying in the chat, he doesn't want to restore Britain with failed traitor politicians, as Farage has done with reform. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to take people from the military, from industry, people who've got ideas, and new people. And that's what we need. In my humble opinion, that is what we need.
And that's also, I'll be honest as well, that's quite a change from what he had been saying earlier.
Well, he's been listening, Atman, I think. I think he's been listening to what people have been saying. I think he's sat down with a lot of people. I think this is why he said a month or two ago that he was going to make an announcement, and then I think he did some more consultation. Plus, of course, he was busy with the rape gang inquiry as well.
Yeah. One thing I noticed in interviews, he was saying to people, like when he was interviewed by the BBC and others, that he noticed that with Starmer, I mean, Starmer's, I think he's probably the most unpopular on a statistical level prime minister we've ever had. But the thing though is, reform should be
way better.
Should be in the polls. They're at 30%. They should be easily cracking up to 40, 50%. They should be. The Tories should be, in absolute, non-existent stage. And even in polling, Tories have been starting to bounce back. And fundamentally, with reform, they represent nothing. And in fact, for them, apart from like the few like and I think most of them are bots. I don't think they're real. Half of them, these accounts that are big, they're big cheerleaders.
Don't you believe it? You believe it?
And or maybe there's Farage sycophants, but when you see stories like some random Bangladeshi man who arrived here like a few months ago is now running to be a councillor in what was it, Portsmouth or something, or Hampshire or somewhere like that, and
obviously an ex-Royal Navy man, mate. Yeah.
Yes. But it's like, and while the same community, because I think it was near like Waterlooville, where they're protesting a migrant hotel, and it's like for reform are totally out of lockstep with their natural voter base, which is what you're meant to be going after in any capacity, and they're totally out of step with the actual requirements of the country, because ultimately people want those who arrived in the last 5 years out, and on a deeper level, people want the preservation of society. They know that demographic wise that it is colonization, it is an invasion, and it is a deliberate attempt to make Britain's people a minority in their own country. People have known that, and I believe most people do know that deep deep down, for a long time. And I think.
Sorry, I was going to say. Recently, we saw the Jim Ratcliffe and David Bennettine, showing how like even in the elite circles they're going, like this whole woke stuff is crap, and they're sort of, you see them getting on board with us now, and that's a big shift.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that is that's something that you will have to be acknowledged. But the thing there is some. I think I can't remember who said this, but the question was asked, like, there are a lot of wealthy individuals out there, and when it comes to backing sort of parties and backing movements, right-wing movements, a lot have been burnt. There have been a lot of these, like, I mean, I think the worst one was the one that Lawrence Fox launched, which unfortunately people lost a lot of money backing that, because it went totally nowhere. His mayoral campaign was a complete joke, and he sort of somewhat ran off with the money. And not to even mention the likes of Tommy Robinson and everything. We know how that always goes. So
yeah, well, Tommy Robbins is just an out-and-out grifter, but and also
I think
Rupert Lowe has made it clear he will not take foreign funding. He said that. He said it very clearly. Another good thing. Sensible Centre in the chat says new poll has Rupert Lowe on 10% today. Let me tell you, Sensible Centre, Rupert Lowe has always had about 10%, even when he didn't have a political pie. And let's remind people that Ben Habib today has said he's going to fold his pie into Restore Britain. So that's going to give a base of workers and people who are willing to volunteer around the country as well.
Yeah, I mean, even Ben Habib, who, he's nothing special, but he managed to get 40,000 people by himself. So that shows the potential that Reform have now.
The other thing, the other thing, Tharian, that Rupert Lowe said was he has sent letters to all of the smaller right of centre pies to ask about how they can cooperate.
I think he's talking more about the members there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine. That's fine.
The members, like the Tory membership base, have always been a hell of a lot better than the MPs. So
I am watching the stuff on X, on Twitter, and all I'm seeing is the blokes are all just coming out, as I said at the beginning of the stream, they're all coming out, well, I'm sticking with Reform or Farage. Or you get old boomer women who come out with things like, I hate Rupert Lowe, he's an egotistical bully. And this is a woman who supports Nigel Farage. Give me a break. Talk about pot calling the kettle black. Let us not forget that Zia Youssef, a man in his 30s, tried to get Rupert Lowe, a man in his late 60s, locked up for threatening him. Which is a joke.
People are mentioning June Slater. And I remember, after the Edgington interview, she was saying, well, we can't have mass deportations because that would cause riots from immigrants. That's peak Reform. That's kind of if you want to think of sycophancy for Farage within Reform, June Slater is exactly that.
Well, I mean, we had obviously we've seen ICE right over in America, and the sort of reaction to that, and you've had a lot of these Reform people who actually say, oh no, you can't do any more than just deport the illegals. That's as far as it will go. And then they're also spurging out about ICE deporting illegals, and they're like, oh, that's too far. It's bad.
Right.
It's this, that, and the other. And it's like this is step one. What are you talking about? How can you fold now?
Well, let's not forget Nigel Farage, not that long ago, on a TV interview, and there are videos of it, so you can prove it's true, turned around and said, oh no, we can't get in a fight with Islam in Britain because we'd lose.
Oh God, no.
He said that.
Unreal.
I know
Unreal.
Mariam and Mercia know he said that.
Yeah, he did. He said it again the other day about the London elections. He's going about how, look, we've got Layla Cunningham, we've got a Muslim, we are the place for Muslim votes, okay? Oh, it's not what we want, Nigel. Especially like you mentioned earlier, the reform base. This is not what they want. They
No, I didn't
are
think so
the
either.
least supporting of this idea.
Yeah,
And
and that's why you've seen people come out and said, yeah, well, say it's not splitting the vote, because what vote is there to split?
Yeah,
You're not in favour of radical change. You're not for the British people. So you're just literally Farage is standing shoulder to shoulder with Ed Davey, Lammy, Keir Starmer, even Steve Khan, Kemi Badenoch. They all are on the same page on this issue. So yeah, it's not splitting anyone's vote.
I think it's interesting how Nigel he seems to have been really courting the Arabs behind the scene. He seems to really want their money, which is interesting. He doesn't want people like Jim Ratcliffe, who have probably turned him down because
he also Farium. He also wants hundreds of thousands of Indians invited.
Yeah, of course, yeah, close ties to the Commonwealth. But yeah, he wants the foreign Arabs to fund him. Whereas I think Rupert might be able, especially because Rupert, being a multimillionaire, he will have been in these circles with like Jim Ratcliffe and stuff. So I think there's a potential Rupert Lowe might have more potential with the actual British billionaires as backers.
Yeah, I think that's true. And as I said, Farium, Rupert Lowe in a very recent interview made it clear that Restore Britain is not taking foreign capital.
Yeah.
Which, I'm happy about the foreign capital ruling. I am a little bit dubious about the idea of getting British millionaires and billionaires on board.
If it's like, I'm not sure, because I do think they seem to have accepted they lost. Like there was Larry Fink at the thing the other day who was saying how basically all the countries who've been racist and kept the immigrants out are going to be the ones best situated for the future going forwards with automation and AI.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I think that sort of class of people have realized that the whole woke stuff is dead. They've lost. And they sort of
It's also really bad for guys who want some sort of technological future.
Yeah.
If you're like Elon Musk or somebody like this and you want a technological future, the woke stuff is bad because you get people are just not educated and bright enough to handle those systems anymore.
I mean, people still talk about the whole like putting the woke away thing occasionally, but like the problem is that in Whitehall, for example, they're just going to be like, the much more cowardly version of the remaining Japanese soldiers, like hiding out in the jungles to the very end.
It was Morgoth who suggested that in America and maybe elsewhere in the world, they would like put like the woke, like loony stuff away, but places like Britain and maybe like Canada and Australia, it would be like woke North Korea, where you still have the remnants of the old regime talking points lingering on in like isolated instances. And I think in some ways there is a concern, as you said, from people, because as I say, you can't. The problem with what you could say progressivism and left-wing thought is it does at some point, if it is purely like a theory cell version of it, it does produce weakness. And we're going into a time globally, and I think a lot of Lowe and others realize that actually you can't be projecting this level of weakness, this form of weakness. It has to be, in some respect, strength. It needs to be, and you can't have. I mean, this is the other thing. You can't run a country and a society which is ethnically diverse to on this scale. I mean, it's just not. It's not possible.
Well,
It's not a country.
Average British IQs have declined considerably since 1900, and a great deal of that is due to third-party immigration. It just is. I mean, all right, the education system's shit in Britain, but again, to reform that, you need to stop the mass immigration.
Because they don't even teach cursive anymore. Kids aren't even capable of learning how to write in cursive anymore.
Kids can't write full stop.
I was quite surprised to see that there's actually a form of teaching kids how to read that apparently came out of New Zealand that's been getting rolled out a lot in America, not so much here, where they don't teach the children sort of phonetics. So
Yeah.
they just sort of teach them like whole words. They know, so like they know the letters, but like if you're seeing them in, let's say, a computer game or wherever, they'll see a word that isn't necessarily in common usage, like, you know, grenade or something like that, and they don't physically know how to say it. I thought that was just really bizarre.
That is weird. I mean, the phonics system works pretty well, I think.
Yeah, it does. It does, Aubrey. Ollie. Mercian, I've got this bloody thing on my screen which I want to get rid of.
Yeah. So,
would you like to tell us what it is?
Right. Okay. You don't need the audio because it's subtitled. So basically, we were talking about the Muslim vote of reform. And this is a Muslim celebrating the fact that there are so many Muslims within reform. It's nothing to fear, and the Muslims should celebrate it. I.e., Muslims win no matter what.
Well, you're most certainly not going to get remigration with reform. I mean, Farage has made that very, very clear. And without remigration, just the breeding rates of these people is going to stuff Britain in the long run, or the medium run, I should say, actually. I mean, I think it's very interesting that the likes of Morgoth and Steve Laws, both of whom I like a great deal, are fully behind Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain, not Nigel Farage and reform.
Are you familiar with the ex-Count Wolf? I think he said.
Yes, I am. Yes, I follow him. Yeah.
Yes, I like what he said. Basically, it's sort of like you're either for Lowe or you're against us. Basically.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm trying to get
this is
Barium's thing. There you go.
This is a recent Tory defector to reform.
मेरा नाम शिकायना खान है और I work in IT at the moment और मैंने अभी reform join किया है, reform UK. पहले मैं conservative party में
That's a British accent, isn't it?
reform join किया और select कि मैं अभी as a candidate में select हो गई हूँ to stand as a councillor और अभी मुझे परसों ही बनाया.
I mean, it's not even English, right? Whatever she's speaking. Who knows?
Yeah, she reminds me of a mathematics teacher I had in secondary school, and my mathematics is still terrible because I literally couldn't understand anything she said because she was an Indian.
Yeah. But is this going to save us? I don't know, guys.
I don't think so, frankly. I don't think so. Someone is saying Morgoth called out the Scot in a dress. We all know that is. I think that's
is that Duncan?
Yes.
Right.
Duncan / Evelyn person. Yes. Although I will also say that AA has been supportive of Rupert Lowe Restore. I noticed.
Yeah, he's been a fan of Rupert for quite a while as well.
Yeah, I've noticed that those two, Duncan and the Scrump monkeys, even though they've been somewhat their usual, I guess what you could say, cynical self when it comes to
absolute doomerism, total doomerism,
and everything. And you know, to be absolutely honest, I understand why people may be hesitant to get fully behind this because of for whatever reason. But I think the fact that you know AA and others like that have got behind it, I think does show that the people who've got behind it, I think does show a sense of this is there's no alarm bells immediately going off. Now it could be that Lowe could be a disappointment, and I will be the first one to say that is a possibility. It could happen. I don't think it will, but it could be. But I think one of the problems that people might find is that, and I will say this now, it's going to, as Rupert Lowe said, if Lowe in a local election, if he has like a candidate who stands in a local by-election and says, and get wins like 12% of the vote or something, there'll be a lot of people say, "Oh, it's over. Oh, it's over." You know, the reality is we have to accept that what Lowe wants to achieve is going to be a hard slog. It's going to be a long one, and it probably means that a lot of by-elections that he'll be running in, or his party will be running in, may lose. They probably will not be coming first, second, or third, maybe even fourth and fifth. They may be even behind the likes of the Greens. But the point is, when Reform and Farage mess up, which they will, which they naturally will, Reform and Farage will tank or something will happen where all these people will, fail in a spectacular fashion. At least Lowe can be the guy to say, "I'm still here, and we're going to pick up the pieces," if that was to happen.
Well,
yeah, I think we've got to give Rupert and Restore, a chance to find their feet here. I am very much against blackpilling and doomer pilling, because what good does that do us? It just doesn't. But I think you've got to give Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain, and don't forget, Restore Britain has a lot of younger good guys behind Rupert Lowe. Rupert Lowe's getting on a bit, but he's got a lot of good young blokes behind him. So let's give him a chance to get on his feet. I like everything he said so far, and it's so much better than Farage and Zia Youssef and Reform. It's just so much better.
One of the most important things for me was in his announcement video. He just says about how Britain is a people. And I am so sick of the fucking British values shit that we hear from everyone else. So
Here, mate. Britain is a people built by a people.
That whole economic zone crap, it has to go.
Yeah, I wonder what Dominic Cummings will say of this, because I know he said about Forge not having much of a team around him, as well as and not as well sugarcoating how bad a slog government will be. Whereas you got Rupert Lowe in that video, 7 minutes long, where he'll just say, well, he'll say stuff like, it says the stuff that's needed to happen will be incredibly painful. And he's saying if millions go, then millions must go. Like, it's a matter of you're not really sugarcoating what needs to be done. And I wonder what Dominic Cummings will have to say about that.
Mitch, I know that you like the quote from Ernest Shackleton, when he put his advert in for the guys on his really dangerous Antarctic expedition. He said men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success. Ernest Shackleton. And Morgoth put on X. He said that the tone of the Restore Britain promo vid reminded him of that. It was realistic, and it was British, and it was down to earth. It was
one of Aaron Hook's relatives was there. Just to point that out. Wasn't it? Never mind. I wasn't Aaron Hook. Aaron Hook, yes.
No,
but I thought it was
to do with the Antarctic.
Who was the other? Who was the Shackleton one then?
Shackleton was the brilliant.
No. The guy in our Discord that had a relative there.
Oh, there is a Scottish guy in the Discord who's one of his ancestors was on the Shackleton expedition.
Why was I thinking it was Aaron as well?
Yeah,
I thought he had two things.
Maybe Aaron doesn't know every member of his family. Maybe one of his
he probably does, and I'm letting him know right now. But there is one of the guys on our Discord group.
Guys, I think it was the Scottish guy Craig whose ancestor was with Shackleton.
But anyway, we actually read out the ad on our Franklin expedition stream, and we were talking on there about how these sorts of expeditions of old, they entirely sold themselves on purpose and in a way that modern institutions are incapable of doing. And it's like, well, people have said for a long time, they're like, well, the right has to offer young people something to get them on board. It's like, well, no, that's what you offer them. You offer them purpose. You say, you've got a part to play in the wars to come, to speak, rather in an over exaggerated nature. But
I think also
there's honor in that.
Someone in the chat has pointed something out. The fact that Rupert Lowe, and he's always said the same thing, by the way, he doesn't just want to ban halal, he wants to ban kosher slaughter too. That's pretty important.
I don't even want to know what's
And
involved.
that's pretty important where the money's going to come from, boys.
Mm-hmm. Tell you something else that could be interesting is you got that Gorton and Denton by-election coming up with Matt Goodwin in.
Yeah.
If Reform loses that, I think that could be a real boon for Restore as well.
Well, you chaps, Tharium and Mercian in particular, but perhaps Midge as well. You guys, and maybe Adam, and I don't know much more about this Matt Goodwin than I do. I've only known Matt Goodwin since he's been a shill for Reform. But people tell me that in the past he was quite multinational and bullshit. So I don't know. What do you?
He worked as basically like a way of deradicalizing the right. His main bit of public facing role. There's old clips, if you go back in like the early 2000s, where he's on these BBC panel shows and he's talking about how to bring down the BNP. In their heyday, he's talking about how to bring down the BNP, how to make Britain this multiracial society, and how harmful the BNP is.
Isn't bringing down the BNP one of Farage's boasts as well?
Yeah, it is. And now
I think that's part of a basis, though.
The thing though is, and whether this is from Nick Griffin. So I know some people have views on him, but he did do an interview with Ed Dutton recently, and I watched the entire interview. And one thing that's quite interesting is he says that from what he was aware, Farage, he said that as we know, Farage was put in there to basically snuff out the head of UKIP to snuff out the BNP, because UKIP was only like a one-party issue. It was to leave the EU, which is something that the BNP were do. Now, the way that it was, and I remember how this was shown in the media, is the BNP were basically like, they were treated like uber Nazis. And it was like a big story when Nick Griffin was on Question Time, because this was like the most controversial thing the BBC have ever done. And Farage was presented after that as the sort of moderate in the room. Now, as people were saying, the Griffin was the one that brought down the BNP. I think there are arguments to be made with that. Him and Collette and everything Mark Collette didn't help matters. But with the infighting and the factionalism. But there is, I do think Farage was put in there to sort of siphon away the BNP, because the BNP were like getting double digits in by-elections, and they were coming very close, second. And place of Dagenham, they won Dagenham as well.
William, I think that there was a lot of infighting there. One of the reasons that Jonathan Bowden ended up dead was because people were coming out with ridiculous allegations that he was some sort of pedo or something like that, which he certainly wasn't, by the way. But there was a lot of bullshit in the BNP.
Yeah, there was. I think it was a Panorama special, and they did like deep dive in showing the factionalism in the BNP. And one thing it does show is that effectively, you remember that the Scottish guy of the Homeland Party, Kenny, whatever his name is, he basically it's very similar to how the BNP was operated. You had like this leadership where people were effectively, you had like sort of low-level blackmailing, but you also had people who were treasurers of a party, but who weren't actually really the treasurers. It was decided by the leader behind the scenes. And so you had like these bizarre ceremonial roles where the person who was meant to be the leader of running this wasn't actually running it. And that's where people were, and you had the cronyism that went about with it. And
somebody is asking, how did Bowden die? Bowden was always a little mentally unstable. I mean, the guy was a genius. Okay, he wasn't.
Was it a heart attack?
Kind of, but
I
he
natural causes like cancer or heart attack or something.
Yeah, but he also went a bit nutty towards the end. He was always a little bit unstable, as many geniuses are. And Bowden was an oratorical genius. Like, I've never heard somebody who could give off the cuff talk and speeches like he could.
For a long time.
Yeah. He was just like, he could talk for 2 hours on a subject and never want for something to say or say it in a bad way or anything. He was a genius in that regard, without a doubt. There's a stream you can watch on this channel that I did with Eddie Butler, who was his mate and actually liked him. And I would suggest people go and check that out.
Here's something. Do you think Jonathan Bowden would be supporting Restore or Reform?
Oh, Restore, 100%.
Yeah, it's funny.
Not
because we've been having this conversation with a big Bowden fan who is a Reform columnist.
Apparently, unless it's the same guy.
There is no chance that Bowden would have supported
that's the thing,
Farage and Zia Youssef. Not a chance.
I do wonder, like, because Bowden, he died, what was it, 2012, was it? Was it 2012, 2011, 2012?
Something like that, yeah.
2011. So this was a few years before the rise of like the populism in Europe and Trump and everything. I do wonder, like, what he would have made of it at the time. Would he have been, you know? And then of course with like Brexit and all that, what his position? I mean, I
think he would have supported. I think he would have supported Brexit. But he would certainly not support Zia Youssef and Nigel Farage at the moment.
No. I mean, because I think what he would have said is these guys aren't serious, they're not elitists, they're not spiritually British or something. I think he would have just, flatly said, he probably would have, probably been like quite on point with the likes of Morgoth and others. He would have been pointing out the sort of contradictions that you have within from the very start. I think there's one speech he did where he did refer to Farage as just a straight up plastic patriot, as a derogatory term. So that probably gives you a clue of what he thought of him. And you
I think he does. Let's also, if we're going to talk about elite theory and leadership and all the rest of it, Rupert Lowe is pretty much a traditional British country gentleman. He's as close as you're going to get to it in 2026 anyway. So yeah, again, I think that's a plus for him, basically. And as I said before, Rupert Lowe doesn't need to do this. He's a very rich man. He's got a stable of like 24 horses or something, and that's extremely expensive, especially in Britain. So he doesn't need to do this. He's doing it because he thinks the country needs it. And I think we should admire his bravery in that because, we're saying, yes, he could come unstuck. Yes, he could. It's possible. But you know what? Because he's got this history in business and all the rest of it, I think he will make fewer mistakes than some of the people who start political parties.
I mean, say what you will about Trump, but those are some of his greatest points, I think, his selling points. And I still am a Trump fan, even though I'm a little disappointed in a few things that he's done. But we needed somebody that was strong and, I guess in the boardroom that can handle, that's not a part of the political sphere so much. Although I guess you guys said that Rupert Lowe was before, but he did so well in the business.
I heard somebody say that Trump has endorsed Rupert Lowe. I don't know if that's true.
Oh, I would not doubt that.
But that must be disappointing for Nigel Farage, who used to. One of his points was, "Oh, I'm great mates with Trump." So
yeah, but he diverged so far from.
I don't know about Trump endorsing Rupert.
I
know.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
The trouble is, if Rupert's saying like ban kosher,
Yeah.
you know, well, I mean, yeah, because Kushner would be on the phone and saying, you know, father-in-law, what are you doing?
I mean, Trump is
was someone in the chat is saying the difference is Trump was always a clown, Lowe is not. That I would agree with. Like Lowe seems to have a good,
right, a little more professional.
Yeah, but he's never been on these silly game shows.
Trump's a performer.
Well, yeah, but but to be fair though, at that time, Trump didn't have any idea he was ever going to go into politics. I mean, he's a very wealthy man who's got a large ego for sure, and it played to it. But
I know he's interviewed on the Oprah Winfrey show, and he was asked about was it back in the 80s and 90s? Yeah, and he was asked whether he should be president, and and I think he was a Democrat at the time. And he says, "We for on a Republican platform." So,
really?
As far as I'm concerned, Trump is still a 1990s Democrat. He's never changed, really.
But I mean, he's a businessman who has made so much money for himself that he doesn't have to do this. And I do think that say what you will about him with criticisms, there are some to be made, but he's doing this truly because of what he thinks is right. And he won me over when I watched his right before this last election. I watched him on the Greg Gutfeld show, and he sat down and gave just the most like heart to heart, real interview. And that's when I was like, I really like this guy. He wasn't his like bullshit, I'm on stage kind of entertainment things. He just got real, and it was a great interview.
Aubrey, I liked him when they tried to kill him, and nicked his ear, and he didn't cower or anything.
Right.
I liked him for
you talked about that because
he was brave.
You and I were on the phone with each other when it happened. And you talked about it then, because I remember you saying that it takes a really brave man to stand up when he knows bullets are flying.
Yeah, the little useless FBI guy, Secret Service guy was trying to get him to get down on his knees, and he wouldn't. So he was brave. I'll say that about Trump. He was brave. He's not a coward.
No, he's not.
I don't. I think he would much prefer Farage though, because Farage is going to be a little bitch, and Donald likes him.
Do you think? I think Lowe will bring Cummings on, in or on.
I wouldn't mind if he did.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
no, not at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, actually, that would be
Cummings knows his way around. Sorry.
Well, no, but this is the thing though. Like Reform's claim for why they needed to have like Zahid Zahawi or whatever on, and all these other various types, is that they needed people that understood the government on the inside. Like, whereas Cummings is actually a better candidate for that, because all you need to do is have someone that can run a few workshops, give a few talks to your potential future MPs and councillors, and that's it. You can circumvent this without having anyone with baggage coming in from old parties.
You've got to be willing to sack a lot of senior civil servants. Now, who do we think is going to sack senior civil servants? Rupert Lowe or Nigel Farage? Because I don't think Nigel Farage would do that in a month of Sundays.
The thing is, Nigel Farage runs a media company, so he's more likely to be like he's more likely to be sitting there and saying, and making it like a media spectacle.
Yeah,
saying not actually dealing with the problem, just saying, look at the loony left and look at what they've done today.
Yeah, I think he's very performative.
That is one lesson I hope we take from Trump: is don't make everything into a fucking clown show. Just get it done.
I don't know. Trump's gotten a lot done though too. So
yeah,
I take your criticism.
I think Rupert Lowe is a lot more based than Trump.
Professional.
He's not up himself as much as Trump is, because I mean, as even Aubrey Alley said, Trump has a very big ego.
Yeah.
I'm
he
not
does.
I'm not sure that Rupert Lowe has that sort of ego. I don't think he does. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't have any ego, because of course he does. He's
You have to get to that level, right?
Yeah, but I don't think he's totally up himself in that way at all.
I
much
think
more
JD
British,
Vance will get behind him, don't you? I think JD Vance will support him.
Maybe.
I think so. Much more so than Farage.
We got to deport the Indians too, though, so he could cause upset.
I mean, the problem is, and this is something that reform is very much like the criticism from one aspect is that reform is very much Americanized. It's an Americanized party. It's become quite Americanized compared to the others.
It's a MAGA version, sort of.
Yeah, it's like Americanized in style of politics as well. Not so much MAGA, but just Americanized. Yeah. And that doesn't really work well. I mean, unfortunately, Americanisms isn't very popular in in Britain.
I know. I've been learning.
Unfortunately for the Americans, it's not. And I think with Lowe, if he sort of avoids the Americanisms and just is straight down the middle, like pure British, old school British style, I think that will come off better than if he tried to suck up to the Americans. And that's not me saying sorry Americans, but get out the fucking way sort of thing. But it is a bit, you know what I mean. Yeah,
that's not what I was even implying either. But just to be clear, I don't mean it in that way. I'm just drawing comparisons. So
can I bring the conversation back to this idea that we need political candidates that understands how politics works? Because I feel like this is the best place to ask this, but as I understood it, traditionally, the whole idea of a sort of political career is quite a modern phenomenon.
Yeah.
In the last century, yeah. I mean, a lot of the politics.
Well, even then, late last century, really, except for a few. You had your Disraelis and your Gladstones and your Lord Salisburys, but even with Lord Salisbury came from a family that had been helping to run Britain since Elizabeth I's time. So I mean,
just look at we talked about the author, the author of 39 Steps. He was a Scottish MP. He was also the Governor General of Canada, as well as serving in the military. I mean, he had like a long career as a writer, author, military man, as well as a heap of other things. And
look at the Duke of Wellington, William. One of the greatest soldiers of history, but also British Prime Minister. So
but you can't compare it to like the average MP now who's done nothing else. They aren't great. I mean, at least you could say a lot of politicians in the past were these titanic figures in their in industry or in the military, particularly in the military or navy or what have you. You can't say that now.
So the only reason I say that is because you get a lot of the reform cuts, like we need people with experience, and if you bring in Dominic Cummings, there's your experience, and he has the roadmap. It's sort of like get rid of that department, that department, that department, that department, that department, day one, no mess. I
do agree, Mercy, and I think that would be a very sensible move on Rupert Lowe's part. Because Dominic Cummings is not tied to somebody like Alexander Johnson, so-called Boris Johnson. He's not tied to that stuff.
He was the one responsible for that.
Yep, exactly. People like Jeremy Clarkson, people like Dominic Cummings, Rupert Lowe should look at guys like that for sure.
What are your term limits again? You can. It's 5 years. Oh, there aren't.
Oh, the Parliament.
The Parliament is 5 years, but you can serve for.
you could be prime minister your whole life.
basically,
Yeah.
if you keep
Yeah,
getting elected.
you prime minister can basically. I mean, technically, the prime minister, once elected with a party with a thumping majority, you can just be dictator. You can just be a dictator.
Really?
Yeah. There's no like constitutional
The
checks.
British
No
prime
limitation.
minister, the British prime minister has almost unlimited power in Britain. Can I just say to
Wow.
Alphabet Cat, right, in the chat, Healy didn't serve in the army; he served in the navy, and as a defence minister, he was Dennis Healy, the Labour arsehole. He did more to destroy the Royal Navy than anyone else you could name. So that's all I got to say to you, Alphabet Cat, about Dennis Healy and the Royal Navy.
Did you just call Alphabet Cat an asshole? Or you were talking about Healy?
No, Healy was an
Okay,
arsehole.
good, because I like Alphabet Cat.
No, I wasn't calling Alphabet Cat
Okay.
an arsehole, but Healy was an arsehole for sure.
Just had to be clear.
He did enormous cuts in the Royal Navy. I want to ask Alman. Alman, what's your feeling about supporting Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain as we go forward? And I mean, obviously, to some degree, it's going to depend on what they do. But what's your base feeling on this now?
I don't know. It's so early. I do kind of want to see it start to play out a bit more. He did say in the initial email when he said that they turned into a proper political party that they would be emailing people out, emailing shortly to reach out about how you can run or help to run someone in your local area. So I'm awaiting that email essentially. But I'm
going to be moving to Harrian's constituency and running against him.
Well, you fancy being a Welshman, do you?
Yeah.
Listen, I only share one Discord with Harrian, and I gleefully put all the stuff about Rupert Lowe, Restore Britain on there yesterday, and he never replied, of course, because it's not his Discord.
Well, one thing that's funny, is. So I think that they seem to. I see the reform cultists. They're sort of flipping between, oh, this is splitting the votes. How could you think of Labour? And also, oh, what a lolcow party. They're only going to get 200 votes. Which one is it then?
The thing is, actually, I've got something to say on that actually, which is the whole splitting the vote argument. Like, I think strategic voting is a myth. Like, lefties always bang on about strategic voting, but I don't think it ever really happens on any scale. I think they kind of also use that as cope to make up for the fact that they don't want to admit that their ethnic client groups just vote down purely ethnic lines. But also, like, but to an extent, people, I mean, we used to have this back in the day, right? People would vote for the BNP in the European elections, but then they would still go and vote like Tory at the general election because people kind of know deep down if something's going to be a wasted vote or not. So it's like, and it's like, even if you look in like the early Reform days or the late UKIP days, you know, they would be on the Tories' heels, but it was never really a risk of splitting the vote. It was just the threat would hang over them.
Well, remember Cameron, he won the 2015 general election outright, even though UKIP was like second and third in most constituencies in England and Wales at least.
First past the post.
It's first past the post. All you need is a good couple percentage across each constituency and you're there. I mean, the only time where the SNP in Scotland really did like overturn that sort of thing, but in England and Wales and stuff, in previous elections, all you need is a couple percentage and that's it. I mean, and also this is the thing: at the last general election, Tories and Labour were massively unpopular. 2024, massively unpopular, particularly the Tories, but Labour were also quite unpopular regardless. And yet under having such a small turnout, he had a thumping great majority, and Tice running Reform couldn't even really garner much in the way of votes. That's why they had to bring Farage back, and he did that last minute,
guys,
hoorah.
Let me point something out. These Reform supporters who talk about splitting the vote and all this bollocks, and I do think it's bollocks. How are you splitting the vote if Reform, Nigel Farage and Zia Mohammed Youssef and Reform, they're not going to do anything to save Britain because they've said they're not, even before they get elected. And I mean, we know that parties basically don't even do half the things they say they're going to do. So given that they haven't said they're going to do anything, they're sure ain't if they ever get power. So what the hell does it matter if you split the vote? Because Reform and Nigel Farage and Zia Mohammed Youssef are not going to do anything, even if they win. It's bullshit.
Well, yeah, that's why the Reform Reform before this had no argument, and they've got no argument now.
Yeah,
I mean, okay, what you're gonna split the votes? Okay, what about Mahmood from Bangladesh, who arrived here like 10 seconds ago? If I give an example, but splitting the vote from him, well, good, I'm glad. And I tell you what, if I was living in that constituency, and I remember I put a tweet out just there to really fuck with the, or no, Facebook post actually to fuck with the, Reform people. I said, if it was him on the ballot on the local election or some random Labour candidate who was like an English bloke, I'd vote for the Labour candidate.
Yeah.
I'm
there as well. Yeah,
I would vote for the Labour candidate, and it's like, and if you don't know why, then you're part of the problem.
Yeah. Oh, but my base Browns don't give a shit. I really don't care. I'm not having them ruling us anymore.
With Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain, real British people, real British Anglo-Celtic people, at last have somebody to vote for.
Yeah,
that's not the case with Nigel Farage, Zia Mohammed Youssef, or Reform. It's just not.
Because look at Reform last 48 hours. They're saying we need special privileges and special consideration for this group, for the British Jews,
for God's sake,
for this group or this group, and then it's like, and this is the same with the Tories, Labour, and everything. And as Aubrey, probably you can hear Aubrey, the Democrats and Republicans do the same as well. Parties at large as well. Lowe, if his thing is no, as he said, this party's for the British people. That is it. That's all you need. That is all you need.
It's about giving people some pride in their country again, and giving people hope again, and that's what I would like to see restored. I think people should be really proud to live in America or in the UK, and
wherever they're from, really.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we're talking about our countries in particular.
Aubrey Alley, we do not use the term UK in this group.
England. Well,
we talk about Great Britain, not the UK.
Okay. I don't know the intricacies there in that. Okay, the Great Britain. I just know there are some people from Scotland, but listen. So anyway,
that counts for them as well.
Right, but they should be. We should be proud of the countries that we live in because they are really kick-ass countries. They have their problems, but I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I'm so tired of the people that you hear, especially these women that are complaining, like the woman, in Ghana, that suddenly was had her love of her snacks. She missed her snacks. Whatever the reason, you leave the U.S. and go live in some other country or England, and you're gonna miss it. You're gonna realize, and people are so freaking spoiled. So anyway.
Can I
backtrack? I'm just saying, let's have some pride again in our countries, and I'd love to see that spirit pick up.
I totally agree with you, but let me point out to you that Great Britain includes Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Okay.
I know, but what? But the UK? What did you say?
I said Great Britain includes not only England, but Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland.
Right.
That's Great Britain. Okay.
Right. I mean, what's the difference between that and the UK then?
UK just has modern aesthetics to it.
Yeah, UK has modern connotations of
UK.
Okay, boys, I'm so sorry.
Technically, the actual official title is the United Kingdom with the Principalities of England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. That's the official title.
That's what I'll say next time.
Well, yeah,
just say Great Britain, and that does.
Okay.
But Great Britain, I mean, I'm happy to use the term Great Britain and include Northern Ireland, but Great Britain is actually the biggest isle within the British Isles, which is England, Wales, Scotland, and doesn't include the Hebrides or Northern Ireland technically.
So when I say I'm talking to like you guys and I say my Brits, that's fine, right?
Yeah, Brits is okay, but we don't say UK.
My Ukers, I wouldn't say that.
As Alabaster as I'm putting in the chat here, that is UK, and that is modern Britain, which is a disgusting shithole.
I am very
we all want to get rid of it.
I mean, there's a lot of mess going on because the British Isles includes Ireland, much to their chagrin.
Yeah.
Okay, well
so
then
I just say Great Britain, and if you go to the Olympics and stuff like that, they still talk about.
They say GB, so people in North.
Great Britain, Grand Britannia. So,
I mean, technically, we should be saying Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And
it's still confusing.
It is.
We do
and
that.
And then you've got crown principalities and all sorts of things.
We know what we mean when we say.
Yeah, we do.
It means the whole of Britain, including the English, the Scots, the Welsh, and the Northern Irish.
Okay. Well, my whole point was that I would love to see pride again in our countries, respectively, and I would love to see people have a hope again, and yeah, to just be proud of. Take pride in our countries and working to make them better. Like you were talking about, I think it was Adam, or we were saying about having honor, right? That you're, or was it? I'm not sure.
Duty, honor, responsibility.
Right. So anyway, that's my point.
Something adamant that Rupert Lowe had in his launch video for Restore Britain. He had that duty, honor, responsibility, which is very British and brilliant. Look, guys, as far as I'm concerned, I have not been this optimistic since 2016 when we won the Brexit vote. And I say we won it because I voted for Brexit. And I was so happy. I mean, of course, it was utterly made useless afterwards. And in part, it was utterly made useless afterwards because a certain Nigel Farage left UKIP, gave it to an arse as leader, and walked away. So I think that tells you a good deal about Nigel Farage, actually. Because if he just stayed in charge of UKIP after the Brexit vote, he could have put enormous pressure on the government.
Are you talking about Gerard Batten? Because I thought Gerard Batten was quite good.
No, I like Gerard Batten. Gerard Batten was a good guy, is a good guy. No, I'm talking about the ex-British military type he got to take over UKIP, who then left his wife of 25 years to go off with his 25-year-old secretary.
Oh, that's not anything new.
Well, I mean, the thing about Farage, I mean, he kept doing it. So
who was his name, guys? Someone here will know. This was Nigel Farage's recommendation to take over UKIP, and he was a former, I think, Henry Bolton, Royal Corps of Transport, or something like that. He was in the army. And he got in immediately, almost got into a scandal because he left his longtime wife and family to piss off with his 25-year-old secretary.
And that was enough to get him in trouble? That's a very normal thing these days.
Well, these days, but bear in mind, this is 2016, so it was a few years ago.
A little
but
bit,
also, it's Britain, and we're a little bit more conservative. That was Nigel Farage's suggestion, and Nigel Farage just swanned off to go and do his financial bollocks again after Brexit, when if he'd have stayed in charge of UKIP, he could have put enormous pressure on the government to give us a real Brexit, which he didn't do. He just ignored it.
Well, this is why I say he shouldn't have left UKIP. But he, like you say, swanned off. And then he started, instead of going back to UKIP when he felt like he needed to put pressure on the government, at least being the figurehead for UKIP, he decided to start his own Brexit party. Then after that, did whatever mission that he wanted. He left that and left it in charge of Richard Tice, and then it then changed to Reform and everything. It's
I should say also the Brexit Party. He stood down hundreds of candidates to let Boris win.
Yeah. So.
Oh, well said, Farian. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that, and yes, he did. Oh, we've got to do this. And I knew at the time, I don't know about you guys, but when Alexander, so-called Boris Johnson, said, "Oh, let's get Brexit," I knew he was going to con it. When he said, "Let's get Brexit done," I knew he was going to con it. The same guy who arrived in Kiev to make sure that, I don't know, maybe 1 million Ukrainians have been killed and wounded in their stupid war they can't win. The same guy. But yeah, I knew it was going to be a con as soon as he said it. But Nigel Farage stood down all these candidates in order to allow him to win. Nigel Farage is containment and a con job. I'm sorry, he is.
Oh, you don't need to be sorry about that. I agree. I just can't believe I was taken in by Farage for as long as I mean, it was a Steve Eddington interview that went not me for 6. I still can't get over that. The Reform cultists were saying, it was years ago. It's only been 12 months. I don't think he's changed his position all that much.
Yeah, ancient history. Oh, that was last week. What are you talking about?
Well, we've lost Alman. Alman's a working guy. He's probably got to get up in the morning. I will say that Adam and Mercian, I believe, are going to be doing a special stream on our channel on, I think it's the 19th, Mercian, is it?
Yeah, 19th this Thursday.
And they're going to be talking, I'll be there, but I won't have much to say. But they're going to be talking about reindustrialization of Britain. So in other words, bringing some Britain making things again, the country that used to be the workshop of the world, and also giving our people good jobs. I think that's going to be an interesting stream, so I'll flag that up for people now. But yeah, thank you, Adman, for joining us. And like I said, Adman's a working guy. He's got a pretty serious job, so he needs to get up early in the morning sometimes. Like I said, I wouldn't trust Farage as far as I can throw him these days, frankly. I don't know what you guys think.
No. Well, I mean, I was, like you were talking about how you've been excited. I was excited at the 24 election when Reform sort of came back and said, "Oh, right, maybe we could do something here." And then it just all the things kept piling up and made me just lose all faith in them.
It was one thing after another, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it's still happening. And it's...
Nigel Farage talks about British values, and it's all bollocks. There's no such thing as British values. There's the British people, and that's all there is. And if they're not British, they're not British, and they don't understand British values. They just don't.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
But now we have Indians lecturing us about how they're more British than us.
I would have loved to have seen them say that to my grandfather, who served on the northwest frontier of India between the wars. He would have had very short shift with those guys. But anyway. Yeah, Mitch, you haven't said anything for a while, mate. What? I know you were debating for a while what was going to happen with you, because I know you joined Restore Britain, but you were also a member of Reform for a bit. What's your feeling at the moment?
Well, I wish Rupert decided this before the 6th, like last week, when, of course, my membership auto renews. So yeah, that's going to be a right nightmare trying to give it. Because the thing about leaving Reform is it's not straightforward. Like I know people who've said they're leaving. I had to send like 10 emails to get them to stop taking money out of his account. So that's going to be right now, man.
Can't you stop that at the bank if you need to?
Yeah, I can, but they've already taken it out in my annual.
Oh,
so,
right, okay.
So yeah, it's going to be right now.
How much are they charging you, Mitch? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm under 25, so I'm about so I can't remember it's 10 quid or 15 quid, but I don't have to pay the full like 25 quid. We usually ask for people over the age of 25.
Oh, well, I think you're going to just have to write that off, mate. But listen, I paid my 20 quid to join Restore Britain, Rupert Lowe's group, and I will be voluntarily paying my 20 quid as soon as it becomes due again. Listen, I think Rupert Lowe's at best hope at the moment. If you
I will say it'd be funny. Let's say for arguments like Harry chose to become a Reform MP, and what happens is someone like Farrier just blocks him from doing it, and he just turns into like he basically, that Seb Payne fella, that Tory fella who aged really badly, who ages like Gollum these days. Like, basically, that'll be Harry blocks from his Reform safe seat.
I mean, he's already got a bit Gollum physiognomy going on, so that's going to be horrific.
Yeah, I've never actually seen him. I've seen his girl taking the piss out of him and talking about her riding crop and how she uses it on him, but I've never seen him himself.
I've met him in real life because I went to one of the Worcester Club meets in Shrewsbury at the time, so he knows what I look like as well. Officially, I haven't fallen out with Harry, and it's just. If he wants to give up the Reform cultism and apologise,
well, the problem is he's a political prostitute. Like, he just doesn't believe in anything. Like, aside from just like brown nosing for Farage. Like, if Farage came out and said TND tomorrow, like, you imagine he would be for it.
Yeah,
and it's like the thing. And like the thing is, it's like you have You have guys like him who say, "Oh, I'm not bothered about Restore Britain," but the guy's entire Twitter feed is just him seething about it and repost everyone seething about it for the past 24 hours.
Yeah, me and Tharium know far too many Reform cultists for my liking. Because I just want to sort of put them in a little box and sort of like, have your Reform cult over there. I don't want to know. Leave me out of it. I've already got out of one Reform cult. I don't need to join another fucking one. But they're just. It's like that one member, Tharium. I really think he left because I don't think he knew. I think he knew he couldn't troll anymore.
Yeah. Well, and it was like I said. Oh no, what do we do with this? With the Restore stuff? It's like. Are they splitting the votes, or are they a clown show? Oh God!
But you, like I said earlier, Tara, you can't split the vote when Reform are not going to do what we want. So, not voting for Reform means you're not voting for something you don't want anyway. So, I mean,
I just have no patience for Reform, especially talking about that when. They did that in 2024, let Labour win. So I just hate the idea that they get to split the vote when it suits them, and then whenever they have a chance of winning, no one else is allowed to run. No, you're not allowed to split the vote. Only we, the Reform pure, are allowed to split the vote. I just don't have patience for that. That's not how the
it's a matter of you're not entitled. Well, we're not entitled to vote. Like, the whole point of getting people's votes is you did it. You earned it. You're not entitled to them. And it's like that's exactly what the Tories used to do for years. Going, if you don't let us in, then the Labour Party will just rape the country to death. It's like, well, okay.
And that attitude that led to 14 years of the Tories raping us.
To Rishi Sunak.
is 14 years of Tory rape. I'm not playing this game anymore. I'm not falling for that.
You know what?
I'll be honest. Guys, I'm not totally loyal to Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain. I'm totally loyal to Britain, and I will vote for the country that is looks to me like most likely to save the Britain that I really love and is one of the greatest countries in the world, if not the greatest, and with the best history, the best geniuses, the best sailors and soldiers, you name it. That's what I'm loyal to. And if I support Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain, it's because they're the guys who are most likely to save that country that I love.
Yeah, I was going to say it's funny. I mean, I don't know when you could start doing this, but like, I don't know what prime minister you could start this at, but every prime minister, certainly since Tony Blair, has been. Well, there's an argument to be made that Tony Blair wasn't that bad, but certainly since Tony Blair, every prime minister since has been worse than the last. Like, Gordon Brown was worse than Tony Blair. David Cameron was worse than Gordon Brown somehow. You know,
I'd argue that's mostly true going back to Lord Salisbury in 1902, but that's just me, of course.
Well, I mean, you sort of like, you thought, well, can it be any worse than Richie Sunak? And Keir Starmer was like, hold my beer. So I don't know. I mean, there was talk about whether the election, if they change prime ministers, let's say Angela Rayner got into
David
power.
David
Oh,
Lammy.
yeah, David Lammy. It's sort of like, my God, it's sort of like there's no. It's a bottomless pit of terrible choices. Just keeps finding new lows. I can't believe it.
I mean, the optics of David Lammy. I mean, it would be depressing, but also hilarious. Just how bad it is. You have David Lammy and then bickering with a Nigerian woman in the UK, in the British Parliament. Like, what have we become, guys?
The meme. Yeah. I mean, and Angela Rayner there was a website put out to see if Angela Rayner could take over. After her scandals, there's not one Labour member that, you know, what's that Andrew fellow that's from the BBC?
Andrew Marr.
Yeah, Andrew Marr. I remember when Labour finally got it. It's just finally adults in the room. I would love to know his opinion on that right now.
Yeah.
Adults, you're not going to find any adults in the Labour Party, that's for sure. But I don't think there are many in the Reform Party either. Someone's asking, what about Lady of Shalott? Is she with us or without us? Green Fez 2121 in the chat. I don't know. Lady of Shalott has been very ill. I think she's got more important things to deal with at the moment. I think she would have been in favor of Rupert Lowe, but I can't speak for her. But yeah, she's been very ill. She's having they're trying to make her better, basically. I think she's got more important things to deal with. I hope that she gets well. That's the main thing I hope, to be honest. But anyway, yeah. What are we getting here? Yeah, listen, I've spoken to her on X, but not for some time, because she made it clear she was going through rehabilitation and all sorts of things. So.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to her since February of last year.
Yeah, Raw Biscuits. I thought she passed too, but apparently I got slagged off of that because I didn't realize she was in an induced coma for 6 months, because obviously that's the most obvious thing that helped. But anyway,
none of us could have known that.
Yeah, how do you possibly know that? But whatever. I don't really want to talk about this. You know, I'm going to mind my own business on Lady of Shalott. She can do what she wants. My only concern was when I thought she had passed, I didn't want people to forget my friend, but apparently that was a bad story. So there we go. Yeah, she did, Sonny Jim. She did. The one day before it, actually. But whatever. Yeah, listen, I'm not going to get involved in any of that shit, mate. I don't care.
No,
All right.
I mean, here, all we would both say is that she's somebody we both cared about, or care about greatly. And we both have grieved what she's been going through. And we grieved, didn't we, together, thinking that we had lost her and that this world lost a really amazing woman. And so finding out that she is alive is a wonderful thing. And we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, look, I actually said that to her when I was talking to her. And I said, look, I don't care. Don't care if people slag me off. Don't care if people don't like me. The world's a better place if you're in it. And I used her real name, which I knew, but I'm certainly not going to use on here. But anyway, whatever. Forget about it. Like I said, I don't want to go into that stuff, guys. It's
we're just happy she's alive.
Yeah, if she's alive, that's great. I'm really happy. The world is a better place for that. Guys, final thoughts. And then I'll ask you if you want to shill anything. But final thoughts on Rupert Lowe and the Restore Britain pie. I'm going to start with Mercian because he's first on my list.
Vote Lowe or you're against us.
Well, I would also say aim high, vote low, because
that too.
That's a great slogan.
I think it is. Mitch.
I mean, I want to be cautious because at the end of it, I don't want what happened to UKIP and what happened to Homeland Party to replicate with Restore. But on the other hand, if you're asking me, like, who would I trust to actually... I mean, one hand, politics is not a trust game, but if I'm going to trust someone to actually fix the problems, I'm more likely to trust Rupert Lowe because, you know, as he said in that video, he's just outright honest saying, oh, what's going to happen is going to be quite painful at first. And also he's saying if millions go. He's very sort of upfront with it. Whereas Farage, with that work from home thing he decided to talk about, of all things, it just strikes me as basically it's just a boomer party. Like it's mutated itself back into what the Tory party was in my last election, where it's just all about talking to the grey beards.
I mean, if you looked at the audience in that, all boomers, all living off their pensions, just cheering about, oh yeah, get those young people back into the factory, get them back,
back into those little office
to pay for my pension, and and try to just, I don't care about your work-life balance. Great,
Green Fee 2121. Rupert should kickstart a radical new pie. I hate to tell you this, but you're a bit out of touch. This whole stream has been about Rupert Lowe launching Restore Britain as a political pie. This whole stream's been about that. So yeah, Farron.
I think it's. I'm with Mitch. It's serious time. You know, no throwing sea kiles and stuff. No LARPing as mid-century Germans. This isn't the time. We don't have time to fuck around with this shit, right? We've got an actual chance here. We've got a serious chance.
As Andrew Marr said about Labour, the adults need to come back in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think with Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain, the party, real Brits have a fighting chance. And as I said on X, if you give real Brits a fighting chance, we'll bloody well win because we're good at that. So, yeah, that's my view. Aubrey Alley, anything you wanted to say about Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain? I know you don't know a great deal about it.
No, but I think just to echo what I said earlier is that I just would love to see some excitement come back into to the right, to all of you guys whom I care about, and I know we share a lot of the same frustrations for both of our countries. And so, it's really great to see somebody that can provide some hope to go in the right direction.
All I would say is you might want to rename that Reform Party News part of the Discord to Reform and Restore. I would change it to Restore Party news at this point.
Yeah, I'm not.
I quite like Restore Britain. I quite like Restore Britain, but yeah.
I wouldn't mind. He's talking about the Discord channel, but
right.
I wouldn't mind them changing the name because, right, you got Grug in the voting booth, and he's got Reform, Restore. Is going to be. I don't know which one's which.
Well,
they're quite similar.
Look at it this way, Fariam. If they keep it as Restore Britain, that's Restore Britain, and underneath you'll have Reform. Not Reform Britain, because that's not their party name. So there is that. All right, Mercian, would you like to plug anything, sir?
Yes, I believe I'm doing a stream on Thursday talking about the reindustrialisation of the Great Britain.
This is the one with Atman.
Yes, this is the one with Atman. Yes,
I'm going to be there, guys, but I'm not going to have a huge amount to say. But I am looking forward to Mercian and Atman's takes on it. So that should be a really good stream.
So be here on Thursday.
Mitch, anything you want to plug, mate?
I mean, I said like a week and a half back, like in regards to that Wednesday stream, I can do that to the conquest of Ireland. So I don't know if anyone was able to join for that, but I can do that for Wednesday.
I'll definitely be up for that.
Yeah, because I mean everyone knows about crop.
Maybe we'll get Aaron Hook. You never know, because Aaron has his Irish views. So perhaps we'll get that one. That might be interesting.
Yeah. It was only now I just realised. Oh yeah, Captain James Cook. I was thinking about doing a stream about that. We could do it on a Wednesday after, but I know I don't know if anyone else has got a topic, but yeah, I know James.
At some point, I haven't decided, but at some point, I'm going to do military tactics of the Napoleonic Wars, and particularly those of the British Army. And I might do it this Wednesday, but we'll see. I haven't decided yet. But if I do that, we'll do your Conquest of Ireland the next week.
Yeah. The only other thing is that I don't. I am thinking about doing like my own channel sometime soon about where it's just I'm just going to do like American Civil War. The only thing about any history channel that I do is just it won't be about British history because, well, that's where your jokes come in. That's where your streams come into purview. Whereas I'd do more stuff like American Civil War. I just talk about Stonewall Jackson, Nathan Bedford Forrest.
I'd like to listen to that.
I know in July you got that George Washington film, which if I were to have my own channel, I'd do a stream about George Washington as well.
I found out that one of my relatives, my great grandpa or something, served under him, under General George Washington, which is kind of
Mitch,
cool.
Apparently that new George Washington thing is shit.
Isn't he black or something?
No, I don't know. I don't think it's that. But there's an American dude I follow who is a reenactor, and he does American Civil War stuff. But he's an American, but he does it as a redcoat. And he said, this is not history. It's crap, basically, is what he said.
Yeah.
In fact, I think he did call it crap. But, yeah.
Yeah, the only thing for me is like, the only consideration I've got about that I do the YouTube channel is because I'd have to probably create a new Twitter account because the one I've got is ridiculously shadow banned, and Elon hasn't sold that for me. So, and the thing is, it's like, the thing is, it's not that it's just a matter of the last few years. It's been a matter of you have to have a phone number, don't you, to have a Twitter account, which
Well, I don't see your tweets, Mitch, and I follow you, but I don't
You
see
know
your
what?
tweets unless you put them on the Discord. I don't see them at all.
You can set up a free Gmail or I mean Google phone number.
Oh, yeah, I got plenty of spare emails. I just use for petitions and stuff.
But
So
I mean, for
it's not
phone
like
numbers, though, if you have to have a separate phone number, you can set up a Google phone number that isn't linked to yours.
Could I suggest you have
Yes,
this
we
as
can
a
talk about
private
it later. Yes.
conversation afterwards? Or reality, is there anything you wanted to plug?
Yes. So tomorrow I'm going to do my very first interview from my channel, which is going to also include Mercian. And we are going to interview the King's Fool, who is a guy that lives in Minnesota. And we're going to talk about all the craziness that just occurred with ICE. And I think it's going to be really interesting getting the take of someone who was in the area just to see this crazy madness. So we'll get into some other topics too. But that is tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. So that's 5 p.m. in London. And it's YouTube at youtube.com/@obreality.
Aubrey, you use the Discord, send me your channel link.
It's in the private chat.
I just did, yeah.
Yeah, don't do it in the private chat here because I'm going to close this down in a minute.
Okay.
Send it to me on the Discord in the private chat, and I'll make sure I stick it under the stream alongside everybody else's.
But yeah, I would love for anyone to tune in. So.
Well, 5 a.m. British time, you're not going to get too many
No,
British people.
no, it's not 5 a.m. It's 5 p.m. British time.
5 p.m.
That's why I selected, that time.
Okay.
So that it'd be good for you guys over there. Well, you're not there, but everybody else.
Okay. All right. Well, I reckon that's us covered everything. Let's just check entropy. I know we got one. Garen, who is a regular supporter of the channel, just sends us $5 and he says hello. Garen, thank you so much. It's most appreciated. I'm spending about $200 a month on this channel at the moment, mostly on StreamYards and X. So that $5 will go into that, and it's most appreciated. Thank you, Garen. You're a regular supporter of the stream. All right. I can also say that William Grenville has a good channel. I talked about it earlier. There will be a link under the stream later on. I would say good luck to Rupert Lowe. Aim high, vote low, and support Restore Britain. That's what I would say. And on that note, don't let the bastards grind you down. Can I also say I used to play an outro tune, usually from an excellent YouTube channel called Patriotic Archive. I've stopped doing it because it keeps stopping. StreamYards can't manage to do it for whatever reason. And also it constantly gets me demonetized on YouTube. But I'm not monetized on YouTube, so I didn't care about that anyway, really. On purpose, by the way.
And happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Which was yesterday for most of us.
Well, today. No, just for you in Australia.
Yeah, we've got 25 minutes Valentine's Day left.
All right, okay, you got 20 minutes left of it. Yeah, all right, guys.
Oh, yeah, get those flowers to your girls.
I only need one, don't worry.
Yeah. I actually forgot it was Valentine's Day yesterday. That's what happens when you're a single man.
Well, it's not just single men that forget about that either, but...
My brother once said that getting a new girlfriend, it's always best to wait until after Valentine's Day, because if you get it a couple of months before, then you got to buy her a gift for Christmas and then Valentine's Day, right?
You just send her a bunch of flowers.
So it's such a sweetheart, right? Though
you get her a bunch of flowers.
So romantic.
Or you could go into a field and pick a bunch of daisies.
That's true.
You could do that. You could do that,
so
and then you could say, "I actually went and picked these." So there you go.
My birthday is the day before Valentine's Day, and I always say that it's whenever I have a boyfriend, a new boyfriend, I say 2 separate occasions, not to be combined unless it's a really great gift. So that's my little speech.
Mind you, I said pick daisies, like
right.
they'll be
Well,
flaring in the middle of winter.
I mean, yeah, that works though. I mean that effort is awesome. I think that's adorable. So yeah.
Now
Anyway.
you go to a local cemetery, you see if
Oh God, dude, that's horrible. Jeez.
The dead aren't going to miss them.
Well, they won't miss them, right? Oh, that's terrible.
They won't even notice, you know. Yeah, I'm kind of joking, guys.
So
I always used to get my girl a bunch of flowers on Valentine's Day, and mostly because it stopped me getting grief later on. So there you go.
Yeah.
It stops you getting grief. It's worth it. It's $20. And there you go. All right.
Thank you, Royal Biscuits.
Which cemetery is charging $20 to get in?
No. That was a joke.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Farium, I've never really done that. God, I'm pretty low, but I'm not that low. It was a joke.
No, Duke, you used to buy your girl flowers a lot, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I bought her flowers most weekends, but I was in love and stupid. So there you go.
And really great shoes.
But I was stupid. I used to buy her jewelry and all sorts of things, but I was in love and stupid. So there you go.
Well, I think that's romantic.
If I could make a really bad joke, did you buy flowers in the pouring rain?
Sometimes.
That is so bad. That is the reference that people are completely not going to get.
I don't.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I don't really get it.
Yeah, no.
And you've got to tell me what is it?
Oh, it's an old UK garage song, isn't it? I'll buy you flowers in the pouring rain.
Mercy, I'm just saying. I love it.
Someone saying bunch of daffs. I used to get my girl a bunch of daffs. Well, I'd do that if I just happened to see a bunch of daffs on the way home. But like I said, I used to be in love once upon a time. And then I used to buy her flowers quite a lot. But I'd also buy her jewelry and shoes and dresses and all sorts of shit. Fucking money pits, women.
That's a really great boyfriend right there.
They're money pits. Well, yeah, but we lived together, so we were a bit more than a boyfriend, if you know what I mean. But yeah, but whatever. That's what happens when you're in love.
It makes for a happier life for you if you have a happy girl.
Well, yeah, but she was pretty happy anyway. But yeah, it was. You do stupid shit when you're in love. That's all I can say.
And on that note, happy Valentine's Day.
Yesterday, yeah. Okay.
God.
All right. Thank you very much to my guests, Adam and Mitch and Tharium and Mercian and William Grenville and Aubrey Alley, of course. And we'll be back on Wednesday for a history stream. Don't know what it'll be yet. Might be my Napoleonic Tactics stream, just because I like military and naval history, but we'll see. If it is, we'll do Mitch's Conquest of Ireland stream the next week. Anyway, we'll see. Go well, guys. Don't let the bastards grind you down, and please like the stream before you leave. See ya.